Hello everyone! Today I thought it would be fun to share a little bit of British culture with you. We're making hot cross buns! I'm going to teach you all about hot cross buns, including what they are, where they came from, and why we eat them at Easter. I'll also teach you how to make them. Don't worry, I'll explain all the difficult vocabulary, so it's easy to understand. By the end of this video, you will have learnt new vocabulary and a new recipe to impress your friends with. So let's get started. Hot cross buns are a kind of spiced sweet bread bun with raisins and a small cross on top, and we usually eat them at Easter time. Now I know it's not Easter time yet, but these buns are so good I just couldn't wait. You can buy them from the supermarket, but homemade is always best. So let's give it a try. First, let's get all of our ingredients. Now, ingredients are the things you need to make these buns. And since I'm British, we will be measuring everything in grams. But I'll leave some cup measurements in case you don't have any scales. So for this recipe, you will need 9 grams of instant dry yeast. Here is the box. We also need 55 grams of sugar. This is demerara sugar. But you can also use white sugar. 185 grams of warm milk. It's cold now, but we'll warm it up later. 320 grams of bread flour. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Some nutmeg, half a teaspoon. Some salt. 100 grams of raisins. 25 grams of butter. And half an egg. This is a whole egg. We will halve it later. Do make sure you have everything you need before you start, or you might have to run to the shops. So first we're going to get a big bowl and add flour. Most of you would use this, a sieve. And that's a great idea. I recommend using a sieve if you have one. Next, put in the yeast and then the sugar. And using a grater, we're going to grate the nutmeg. If you have powder, that's also a good idea. But this is all I have, so tap, tap, tap. And look at the inside of that. Very cute and quite unexpected. Next, please take a teaspoon, mine is golden, very cute, and sprinkle in your cinnamon. Sprinkle, sprinkle. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, sprinkle, sprinkle, shake, shake, and a crack of salt or a pinch of salt. Using the same spoon, we're going to mix that together. Mix, mix, mix. Okay, here's the butter. We need to melt it. Okay, so I'm going to put it in a pan, small saucepan, and put it on the hob. Okay, put some fire under it and melt that butter until it's all melted. So now my butter is too hot to add to the mixture and my milk is still cold. So if I add the two together, it makes a warm mixture. Perfect. In trying to show you my cute cup, I have spilled the milk. Look, it's right there. I should clean that up. So let's wipe that up. Wipe, 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 and we're ready to go. So add the butter mixture into the flour mixture and use your spatula to scrape the sides of the pan so we get everything together. Next, crack an egg, because of course we need half an egg, not the whole egg. So let's mix that up, mix, 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 and very carefully try to pour half of the egg mix very carefully. Okay, that's about half, maybe a bit more than half, but try your best to get about half and save that egg for later. Okay, and now we are mixing, mix, mix. Scrape the flour from the sides of the bowl to make sure it is all incorporated. Keep that mixing action. Now you may be wondering, when do I put the raisins in? Well, you should put them in now. Unfortunately, while making this batch, I completely forgot about the raisins, so I add them in later. You'll see. Okay, we need some more flour. This is too sticky. So I'm taking bread flour. I suppose you could use plain flour or all-purpose flour in this recipe, and sprinkle it onto the counter. Okay, get some flour on your hands as well. It will stop the dough from sticking to your hands. So this is our dough coming onto the counter now. And now we're kneading. We need to knead for about 10 minutes. So while I carry on with that, let me tell you a little bit more about hot cross buns. They're traditionally eaten at Easter, which is a Christian holiday. The main religion in the UK is Christianity, so most people get some days off to celebrate. Easter traditionally celebrates when Jesus, the Son of God, came back to life after being nailed to a big cross. You've probably seen images of this. And believe it or not, it's the most important holiday for Christians. So why do we eat hot cross buns? Most people say that the cross is a symbol of the crucifixion of Jesus. Crucifixion is a way of killing people by tying or nailing them to a cross. The cross also symbolizes his resurrection. So in other words, it symbolizes when he came back to life. But actually, historians have found versions of the hot cross bun recipe dating back to the 14th century, when a monk called Brother Thomas Rodcliffe made and served a version of hot cross buns to the poor. So when a recipe is that old, we really can't be sure where it came from. Nevertheless, we are always reminded that Easter is coming when we see hot cross buns creeping into our shops. And we start eating them basically from after Christmas until after Easter, or maybe even longer. There's no rules really. Let's see how my dough is getting on. Well, it looks like I got bored of the traditional kneading method, and now we're slapping, punching the dough, and tossing the dough up and down, stretching and folding back, squishing it, very satisfying, good squish. And now back to the traditional method of kneading the dough, stretching out and pulling back. And there you have it. What a cute little ball of dough. Perfect. But I forgot the raisins. Oh no. So we're going to try and put the raisins in now. Usually you'd put this in before you start kneading, but I forgot. So we're doing it now. Let's fold those raisins in, fold them in, and start kneading them in. This is perfectly fine to do, especially with fruit. It's a very easy thing to do. If you forget the egg, that's a bigger problem, right? So we're just poking the raisins into the dough, kneading it some more. I mean, can you knead too much? I don't know. But we're just giving it a quick knead, and there you have it. No problem. Crisis avoided. Put it in a nice clean bowl, cover in a tea towel, and put it somewhere warm. My house is very cold, so I'm putting it in here in my hot water cupboard. And it should have doubled in size, or almost doubled. It might take a bit longer than 30 minutes. That's fine. Leave it until it has doubled in size. So now I've got a baking tray, just trying to fit on these pieces of parchment paper. This stuff is reusable, so I recommend you use reusable one, but you can use the disposable one as well. and punch the dough. Punch, 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 punch. Super satisfying. Punch it and scrape the dough from the bowl, scraping it now. Get all those little pieces and make a nice ball. Oh, raisins fall out, you pick them up. Pick up them raisins. Okay, making a ball and put it on the counter. This is a dough scraper. I found this very cheaply when I was living in Japan. Just make a line in the dough with the scraper. It's a useful tool, but if you don't have one, a knife works just as well. But I quite like this one. So if you can get a dough scraper, I recommend. Very useful. And now we're making it into basically however many pieces you want. I always do, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Yes, I always do 8. Just because it's easy for me to divide the dough in that way. Okay, fold the dough, make a nice little ball. If the raisins are poking out, try to cover those up because they can burn if you don't cover them. So yeah, just cover, pinch the dough like I'm doing, and make a nice little ball. Oh, there it is. And put it on the baking tray. Leave a little space between each one because it's going to rise. Cover with another tea towel, clean one, and we're going back into the water cupboard. This time we only want the dough to rise by 75%. So this second rise should take about 30 to 45 minutes. Meanwhile, let's preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. Then we're going to make the crosses. So get 35 grams of flour and start by mixing 2 to 3 teaspoons of water. And as you can see, 3 teaspoons is not enough. So keep going to your sink and adding small drops of water until you get the right consistency. And mix it up, mix, and this is the consistency that we want. Okay, next you need a piping bag. Hang on a second, this isn't a piping bag. This is an old bagel bag. Well, I don't have a piping bag, and I also don't have a Ziploc bag. You could use a Ziploc bag. In fact, I recommend it. But you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, but with your piping bag or your Ziploc bag. Okay, poking the mixture in there and then scraping it off the spoon because we don't want to waste any of that. All right. Okay, take your piping bag and fingers crossed that this works because I don't know. I'm going to try and make a point and then snip the end off. So if you're using a piping bag, it's much more precise. But I only have this bagel bag. And as you can see, well, that's not working out, is it? What is that? Is it a slug? Looks like a slug. What am I doing? What is this? Okay, just pinch some off. It's quite elastic. So actually, oh, can I stretch it over? Oh yes, I've made some kind of line, and we're really looking to make a cross on these buns. Yep, just use those sticky pieces to make a cross. You should be able to pipe this cross on the top, but as you can see, my hole in my bag is too big, so I can't pipe so well. Now if everything goes according to plan, you should be piping like this. Not like this. Ew. Piping like this, and ideally not like this. But it's working okay. I'm making a cross, and I guess if you don't have a piping bag, that's what you could do. We're now going to brush the buns with some egg. This is called egg wash. And usually you would use a pastry brush, which looks like this. But if you don't have one, you can always use a lettuce leaf. Life hack. Put it in the oven for 20 minutes. When your buns come out of the oven, they should look a gorgeous golden brown. Hello? Hello? No, I have not lost my mind. If your buns sound hollow, that means they're done. Now wait for them to cool. No, and enjoy. No, not like that. That's not how we eat them. Let me teach you. Slice it in half, then toast it in the oven or a toaster. Butter it, more butter, and spread. If it doesn't spread easily, put the halves together to melt the butter. That's better, nice and spreadable. And enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Try this recipe out for yourself and comment below. I would love to see some pictures of your hot cross buns. Tell your friends, share this video, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.